Hi YouTube, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Javohir, and in this video I'm gonna be basically going through entire IELTS speaking part 1. However, I'm not that stupid to make a video that is gonna focus on just part 1. Many of the tips that I'm gonna tell you in this video are fully applicable to your whole IELTS speaking test. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, I want to tell you that I don't really recommend learning the answers by heart. I don't think that the memorization is the best way to prepare for your IELTS test. But I do recommend to prepare answers for 3 stock topics, which are work and study, home, and hometown. We'll get into these topics in detail further in the video, but before that, I would like to mention some of the ultra essential points. Well, the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that first impression matters. Many IELTS experts and the YouTubers or blogs may say that the way you dress, the way your hairstyle is, or the way your face looks, it doesn't really matter. It matters your English. But I strongly hold the belief that your first impression really matters. And if it doesn't affect your score, it really affects your performance. If you feel comfortable, if you feel cool, if you feel relaxed, then you're more likely to talk better and your speech is going to be more natural. It's not just about impressing the examiner, making sure that they love you. It's not about that, but it's about making yourself comfortable being with the examiner. I would love to recommend to talk with your examiner as you're talking with your crush, but it's probably a bad idea because some people feel nervous with their crush and they can faint and they can scream or they can even fall down, so I don't really recommend that. So please don't imagine your examiner being your crush. What I do recommend is to imagine the examiner as your best friend. If you're talking with your best friend, you'll feel more confident, you'll feel relaxed and you feel calm, and that's gonna really boost your performance on the speaking test. The main point of the speaking test is that you need to make it feel like a conversation, not an exam. If you're making sure that you're just conversating with the person, that he's not really testing you or making you suffer with different questions, if you just take it and accept it as just a simple conversation, it's gonna go all well. One important aspect of part 1 is the fluency, and this is hands down the most important thing that you should be careful and you should take care about in your speaking part 1. I personally prefer keeping answers as simple as possible and get straight to the point, because the thing that is checked in part 1 is the fluency of your speech, and if you can answer all the questions fluently, then you pass the part 1, then you ace the part 1. Think of it in this way. So you've got average of 12 questions in part 1 and you've got 4 to 5 minutes for part 1. If you multiply 5 by 60 seconds, you get 300 seconds, and if you divide it by 12, you get 25 seconds. That means the maximum amount of time you're allowed to answer for one question of part 1 is 25 seconds. It's not even a half minute, it's just 25 seconds. So make sure that you keep it simple and get straight to the point. Another interesting aspect of part 1 is that sometimes you're asked questions that you have no answer for. Like literally, you have no idea what to answer. They ask you questions in this kind of topics like flowers, neighborhood, butterflies, environment, nature, and you were like telling the examiner, hey, I don't have any idea about them. Like, I don't know what grows in the fields of my garden, or who are my neighbors. I don't know. I don't have any kind of freaking idea what this is. For example, if they're asking you your favorite book, you can say like, I have never read any book except textbooks and IELTS preparation books. I hope you won't tell that, because that's stupid, man. Like, read books, people. So in this kind of situation, here's my advice. So the first thing you need to do is to tell them that you've got no idea. So like, just tell them like, I don't know, I'm not really interested in flowers. And then you can use 3 types of answers, which are will, want, and someone else. For example, if they ask you about like Do you enjoy yoga or meditation? Do you practice it? Do you like it? What do you think about it? You can say like, I don't actually practice yoga, but I will be practicing yoga. I watched some bunch of videos on YouTube, so I'm on the way. So you can say like, I will do that in the future. Or if they're asking you about what kind of countries have you been made, and if you have never been outside of your city, then you can just say like, I would like to travel to this kind of country, to this kind of countries, to Europe, for example, to Africa, to New Zealand, but I don't really have money for that, or like I've got studies right now, and just make some excuses and tell them that you actually want that but never done. Or talk about someone else. For example, if they ask you, do you like flowers? Just tell them like, no, like I'm not really interested in flowers, but I've got a friend who has a beautiful garden. She takes care of her flowers, she waters them every day, she knows literally everything about flowers, typical Hermione Granger, and that's all. That's all you need to say and cut. So now let's talk about stock answers. So if the examiner would ask me, where do you study? I would say, I'm currently a student at Namangan Presidential School, which is a Cambridge International School, which focuses on STEM subjects. So this is the answer that I wrote for myself. And this answer was like a stock, like if anybody asks me this question, this is how I'm gonna answer it. And there are a lot of questions that can be done in this way and that can be followed in this pattern. For example, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, so there are topics like work and study, hometown, and home, which are gonna appear always. So I think that I'm pretty sure that one of the topics in part 1 are going to be one of those three. So that's why you need to make sure that you're ready for these topics and you've got your answers ready. I guess that it's allowable. Like I think that it is not really bad to make and prepare answers for those topics only. Under the work and study category, the main questions are like, what do you study, where do you study, and what kind of subjects do you study, and why do you choose the subjects, and do you wish to change them? So these are like basic questions. So if the examiner, for example, asks me, what do you study? I would say like, I'm currently studying chemistry and physics and maths. I chose the subjects as my for my A-level course, and that's it. And then if they say like, do you like your subjects? Of course, I'm really passionate about maths and sciences, and that's why I chose the subjects. So if the examiner asks you, for example, why did you choose this subject? You can just say like, I want to be engineer, so that's why I think these subjects are going to be really essential in my college applications and throughout my life, so that's why I chose the subjects. Or you can say like, I'm just passionate about maths, I love maths, and that's why I chose maths. Or they can ask you like, would you like to change them? So you can say like, no, I wouldn't like to, because I really enjoy studying the subjects. I'm really passionate about them, I love them, and that's why I think that I would never change the career field and the path that I chose for myself. Another topic is home. So I really think that, for example, main questions like, where is your home? And you shouldn't be like describing the whole region with all its beautiful mountains and this kind of stuff. Just give a simple answer. To describe your home, you can include like the kind of an area you're living. For example, if you're living in micro district, in a village, suburban area, urban area, they can ask you like, is it a house or flat? So you don't really, again, don't make your answers long. Just say like, it's a 2-story house, or just like I live in the 5th floor of the 9-story building, it's a flat, and then it's an apartment, and that's all. Also, they may ask you like, who do you live with? So you can just answer like, I live with my parents, with my father, with my mother, and my sister. And if you've got like members of the extended family, you can say like, I live with my grandpa and grandma in this house. And then there are kind of be questions like, what is your favorite room? And then you can just say like, my own room is my favorite because I live there and I feel more relaxed. I can do whatever the stuff I want without distractions, and this is kind of a private place for me. So this can be like a long string of reasons for why you like this room. Another type of question that they may ask you is that, what would you like to change about your home? For example, for my part, I could say like, I don't really like the color of the walls, so I would like to paint them into colorful colors. Come on, colorful colors. I would like to change some furniture. I would like to buy new furniture, new style of like doors, or for example, I would like to change the carpet and just the basic stuff, like just prepare the stuff that you don't like, you hate about your home, and tell what would like you to change about it. And the last question that is associated with home is, do you plan to live there in the future? And most of you, I guess, will answer probably that probably not, because I want to have a house of my own for my own family in the future, so that's why I'll probably live in another home. The last type of questions that are very common in speaking tests are related to the topic of hometown. For example, they might ask you, what is your hometown? What do you like about it? And where is it located? So you can just basically say like, I live in a city in Fergana Valley, so it's a very nice place. I like it because it has very good facilities for living. And so just basically answer what do you like about your hometown if they ask you to do so. And there are gonna be like questions like they can ask you like, what is the oldest place in your hometown? And you can say like, in my little like the hometown, my city, there is a tall tower or the very old castle that I really like, enjoy. So I think that this is the oldest building because it was built like in 500 years ago or 6 centuries ago. Just prepare your answers for that question. Or if they ask you like how it changed over the periods, you can just say like, there are more traffic lights, there are more roads for people to use, there are some bicycle trails, and there are more supermarkets, there are more high-rise buildings, apartments, and there are more parks, green areas, and you can just like outline the changes that happened in your hometown. And lastly, they'll probably ask you like, how could it be improved? And then you could say like, there should be more security cameras, and I guess that there should be more place for like children, like playgrounds where children can chill out and people can sit and have fun. Maybe you'll ask like for more restaurants, or open a book club or book cafes, or even like build some stadium if you want. Like, it just depends on your preferences. Just be natural and talk about stuff that you're really passionate about. Because if you're passionate about something, then you can talk about it very naturally and the ideas flow themselves. That's why try to drive that passion when you're talking in like answering your speaking questions. And the last thing to remember in your entire speaking part 1 is that your answers should consist of 2 parts. What and why. So examiner will most probably in 90 cases ask you, if you just say like, what kind of flower do you like? You can just say like, I love roses, and then he or she will definitely ask you why. So that's why don't make your speaking examiner ask you that question. So answer the straight ahead. So what and why. So this is like the golden formula for any kind of speaking part 1 questions. So just say what you like about it and why do you like. Well, speaking doesn't really consist of only these 3 topic areas. There are many other topics, but it's up to you, total up to you. I don't want to discourage you from learning all 50 or however topics exist, but I would strongly recommend not to really memorize them, but to prepare some vocabulary for each topic area. For example, learn some good vocabulary on education, on environment, on animals, on plants, and make sure that you've got that vocabulary in mind. Because I personally believe that writing out every answer for your question, it's gonna be, and then learning it and then memorizing it is gonna be very time consuming, and investing that on learning new vocabulary and idiomatic language can be more useful in the long run. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'm super pooper awesomely glad if you liked this video, and if you did, don't close your browser window or go to another video before liking this video, and of course subscribing to this channel. So the channel is gaining some kind of momentum in its growth, so I would be super pooper awesomely glad if you join me in this journey. So, well, peace.